But as I said, today we have members from all three of our programs, AmeriCorps Mentors, College Ambassadors, and Vista, and we're going to give you a chance to talk with each other and to really work together to start thinking about your service projects and planning them. And we really hope that between the different programs, you guys work together and do some great things in the community. So now that we've done that, we're going to start talking about our service projects. And so these are really days to honor National Days of Service. So can anybody tell me what a service project is or what a day of service is? I'm going to ask you guys to talk a lot today, so please share. How about Jordan, who has served for several years? Jordan, will you share us what you think a day of service is?
I would say it's a day to give back to your community in several ways.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else have another opinion on it?
I think it's a time where you kind of look at your community as a whole and kind of see where you can help. And I think that's kind of a humanizing part of being a service member.
That's a great example. I like that. So really, I think it's important to know that they're federal holidays, and AmeriCorps is the federal agency that was appointed to oversee these federal holidays. And it's considered to be a day on, not a day off. So really it's a day for you guys to do more service and to really make a difference. And that difference might be different than what you do on a normal day in your AmeriCorps service. And it really helps to empower individuals, strengthen communities, bridge barriers, and address social challenges. So it can be something bigger and kind of a project that is close to your heart and something you feel like is important to address. There are 4 National Days of Service. The first one is January 18th, which is MLK Day of Service. Then March 8th through 14th is AmeriCorps Week. April 18th through 24th is National Volunteer Week, and then September 11th is the National Day of Service and Remembrance. AmeriCorps members across the country are each required to plan 2 service projects each year in recognition of 2 of these service days. And so we're going to work as an Education Alliance across the board program to plan one day together, and then you guys are going to have the opportunity to plan one day of service that's on a topic that you're interested in. We wanted to start by just sharing with you what some past members have done in the past and what their service projects look like. We have 2 examples that are going to share today, and I want to start by turning it over to Brooke Johnson from Wood County to tell you about what some of her service projects in the past have looked like. Brooke.
Hi. So I'm going to tell you guys about the service project that I did last year for my MLK project, and I did it with Dale. So we decided to have a hat day, and we asked the kids to bring in $1 or donate like winter gear, like toboggans, gloves, hats, scarves, anything really. And we got a few donations, but we mostly got dollars, and we ended up getting around like, I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it was around like 270, 280. And so then Dale and I, we got lucky and we had a Kmart going out of business. So we went over to the Kmart and we looked around there, and actually they had tons of winter stuff. But before we went to Kmart, we actually were like, well, what are we going to do with this money first off? So we we have these, like a list of kids at our school that get weekend bags. And so we knew that we wanted to give something to them. So we got a list of all of them, and we got like all their ages and stuff. And then we also went to like 2 local missions in our area. And one kind of leans more towards adults, and the other one leans more towards kids. So we got a list of like items that they needed, and then we went to Kmart, and we ended up getting, we got like we were able to get all of the weekend bag kids hats and gloves, and the younger kids we were able to get them scarves. And then we were able to get like diapers, clothes, tons of stuff, underwear, socks for kids and adults, and what else? And then we took those back to those missions and we donated them. And then we were able to put the toboggans in the weekend bags to distribute to those kids in need. And it was actually really funny because we did it, and then literally the next day a massive snowstorm happened. So it kind of worked out. I will say we got lucky that the local business was going out of store, because we would have been able to buy that much stuff with all of that money that we had. And then that was really it. It was really heartwarming to give back to our community, because we were able to help like our community, the people that need help. So that was really all we did.
Great. Thank you, Brooke, for sharing. The next group that's going to share with you about their project is the team from Kanawha County. And so I'll turn it over to, I think Sophia might be going first.
Yeah, so last year for MLK Day, this was all pre-COVID, we planned a big community event in partnership with a community center in our area. And our AmeriCorps is partnered with an after-school program. And so each of the after-school program sites, the kids were designated a specific holiday or celebration, like Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all of the things, Christmas, Chinese New Year's, and they were to decorate like a poster or a game or an activity, and then celebrations for each of the people that we were remembering. Was food and activities and resources for the families that were invited, and it was a celebration that was super fun and special for our community.
Great. Thanks, Sophia. I think Trent had some things to share as well.
Yeah, also to add on to what she said, in the middle of that, it was when they was hanging up the new Martin Luther King Avenue sign by the mall. So we walked all the kids down there to watch that celebration, and they got to see that. They got to see the preacher that knew Martin Luther King Jr. Got to watch him speak, and it was just really good, because I mean, that's a great time in history, even for the young kids to learn, and for them to be able to learn face to face like that, and not just in the school books. I'm sure it meant a lot to some of them. After that, they just went back and we played games and just hung out with the kids.
Great. Thanks, Trent. Jalissa, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think they covered everything.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for sharing. I think that what it shows is that, you can do this as a group project, you can do something individually, and you can really find something that's a local need that you want to address when you're having your projects. So as I mentioned earlier, this year for 2021, we're going to do one project together that's a common project for MLK Day, and then you're going to get to choose to either do an individual or group project for your spring project. So first off, thinking about MLK Day, which is coming up soon on January 18th, we wanted to give you guys a chance to vote on what our common project is going to be. So we have 10 options for you guys, and then the option that gets the most votes will be the project that we go with. We tried to pick 10 options that are COVID safe and something that everyone would be able to do, whether it is remotely using a drive-by type situation or something that could be safe while we're going through COVID. So I'm going to ask Andrew to send you guys the poll so you can vote on which project you want to participate in for MLK Day. Okay. It looks like collecting winter coats, hats, and gloves for children in need got the most votes. So that will be the project that we work on this year. Thank you guys for voting. And I think it'll be a great project. So now we're going to break you into groups based on geographic location so that you guys can talk about what would this project look like for you locally. So you may be in a group with somebody you've never met before, so make sure to introduce yourselves and see if there's an opportunity to collaborate together. You're going to get 10 minutes to talk, and we'll break you into those groups. I'm going to ask Andrew to send you the discussion questions in the chat, and then once everyone has an opportunity to open those up, we'll break you into the groups. You do not have to take notes in your group this time, but please appoint somebody to share what you discuss when we come back together. I hope you guys had a good discussion and brainstormed some good ideas to work on your project locally. So I'm going to ask each group to share what they talked about. Up first, can the Berkeley and Jefferson group share?
Hi, this is Karen. We had 3 mentor educations, and then we had a college ambassador. So we were all pretty much on the same path. We will use, okay, I'm just going to go through the questions here. To execute locally, we're going to contact our supervisors. And I know in Berkeley County, Jackie and I are pretty close with the administration. So asking our director of attendance, Mr. Howe, if he could help spread the information for us to the other schools in our county. We overall, we have Hampshire, Hardy, Grant, Mineral, Berkeley, Jefferson, and possibly Morgan counties that we can collect items from that was in our group. Donate the items. First question, do they have to be new items? Tags and all of that? That's a question we have.
Okay, so I'll take your questions and then we'll put together an FAQ
Okay.
for everything. So I'll write down that question as one to get back to you.
Okay, and then so we're thinking if they could be dropped off at the school, or if we have connections for small businesses in the community, maybe have those at a drop-off site, because I know in Berkeley County we're not in school because we're red, and it looks like we may not be back until beginning of the year. Rather than us going to the homes and picking stuff up. If anyhow, who's help? We've already talked about that. Resources. Who we decided that in our area we felt like our students, our direct contacts, mentees, however you say that, we would help them, help other people in the community, and then if we were lucky and have like a surplus of things, in Berkeley County we have a PTA clothing room that accepts donations like this, and it is free for the families to come in and get. And the resources and promoting, we were wanting to know if AmeriCorps is making a flyer for this, and if so, we would take that flyer and promote it on our personal social media pages, as well as with our contacts that we're going to need to help us in our area. I think that was it.
Great. Thank you guys for sharing. Those are some good ideas. How about the Kanawha, Lewis, and Raleigh team?
Hi, I guess I'll talk for us. So Kanawha County is currently doing the feeding program. That's like our big community outreach right now. And we've also done quite a few drives for different things. And so we're used to the process. And what we have done in the past is reached out to communities, hung up flyers, asked for donations, used social media to engage with our community with a designated drop-off point. And then what we have done in the past and what I think would be effective now would be to kind of compile what each kid gets and who it goes to and deliver them with our food, as Kanawha County is also not in school right now. So there's no way to engage with them in the schools, obviously. So you have to be creative about how you get those resources out to the kids. And I guess that would look different for every county, but that's how it would look for us.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Sophie. Anybody else from your group have anything to add? Okay. So next is Lincoln, Wayne, and Cabell.
All right. So me and Levi pretty much live, like I could, if I really wanted to, I could walk to his home. We're pretty close together. But for all the local stuff that we talked about for Lincoln County was there are a few places that we could actually set up at that would accept it. We've done it, like whenever I did Energy Express, I think we did a food drive down at the Piggly Wiggly. That was pretty good. You know, just handed out little, like we had like little flyer cards, just telling us like, hey, this is what we're doing. That was nice. So we could probably do that again. And there's a place actually now that's right next to it that does donate. You can get free items like free clothing and stuff like that. So I feel like if we talk to them, they would probably give us a pretty decent sized donation and or let us probably take a good amount if they would want. So we'll have to talk to them about that. And I feel like we could probably get them to donate quite a bit. The place that we could probably either give them to could be that place. If they say no, we could honestly offer to bring them if we can leverage more clothing. So that could be another fallback option, or we could partner up with the schools, maybe distribute something that way. Since, you know, we're still in school here, we still have been doing pretty well about that. So maybe we could, if the kids are actually at school one day, maybe just like here, bring it to those programs and they can distribute it that way. So that's another way we could probably do it. The resources, we really wouldn't, I don't feel like we would really need a whole lot of anything from the education lines, just because the only thing we would have to really do is maybe, I don't know, actually, honestly, I don't think we would really have to, because everybody else here seems to do pretty good about donating and to the cause and everything. So we should be fine on that end. The project that can be like to promote it would probably be either flyers, or we can also use our social media page as well. So we have a few social media pages for schools, but at the same time, we could also maybe have a way to make one and then have the school repost it so it'll get more publicity. So we can also do that as well.
Thanks for sharing, Caleb. Those are some great ideas. So our next group is Logan County. I know that Mandy and Brittany had to get off early. Is there anyone else left to share?
I can.
Okay, great.
Okay. We thought about talking to our after school program and connecting with Michael Tierney a little bit and Tammy and all them to see, you know, if we can get this stuff. And then we thought about getting the scarves as well, if we could. We thought about using our Facebooks, our school pages, you know, letters and flyers, talking to the local businesses, our principal to get maybe a list. And we thought about if we could get enough with the kids that we can get, maybe get their siblings Because I'd hate to give one a hat and gloves and then little sister be like, I'm out. I didn't get nothing. And we thought instead of just Ed Alliance, maybe getting our Vistas involved. Because, you know, we have them, we could try to use them.
Great ideas. I like it. Okay, next is Ohio County and Marion.
Hi. So yeah, that was with me, Jody, and Bobby. And we're all kind of three people that tend to go back and forth between these places a lot. And right now, Bobby is also going back and forth from Morgantown to Hurricane. So we kind of saw that as the opportunity for three of us to divide and conquer even more. And Jody would take over Wheeling, I would take over Morgantown, and then Bobby would take over Hurricane. And what we did was we identified some places that could use the coats, like in Wheeling, the 18th Street Center could probably use them. In Morgantown, Bartlett House could. They work with like assisted housing, and I've actually worked with them before, and they're really great. So I'll probably just reach out to them, see if it's something they could use. And then we were talking about making the drop-off location in higher trafficked areas, like in Morgantown, for example. We there's a couple churches on High Street that would probably be willing to help with this, but we still want to kind of troubleshoot what would be the best places to set up. And I mean, from there, you know, we'll just make sure the donations are either like disinfected or just kind of like wait to donate them. And then to promote it, we'll probably just make an event on Facebook that people can actually like and sign up for. That way we could have an idea of how many coats we could get, and also if people can't reach our drop-off times, then maybe we can just arrange to get any of those winter clothes. And I don't think that we need any resources from Education Alliance for this. Maybe just like on Facebook, just like a like and share of the event, because they have a lot more of a following than I ever will. So yeah, we'll kind of operate through One Warm Coat and go from there.
Thanks, Allison. Those are some great ideas. So our last group is Wood, Pleasance, and Jackson.
I can talk some, but somebody might have to help me out a little bit. So one of our big things we were talking about was make flyers, and you can pass them out, but since we're not in school, we'll have to do it on social media, and then like we can share it, but then put it on the school stuff so they can share it. One of our drop-off places we would do like at the front of our schools and stuff, because there are some kids that are coming to school, and then some people are picking up some things from the school. So if we put them there, then anybody could access it at any time to drop them off. We would need help from the community, and we would donate it to, like, we would ask kids if they needed it, because I know there are some kids that don't have those jackets like around here. And then if not, we'll find a local organization that we could donate them to.
Great. Thanks, Kristen, for sharing. Somebody has background noise. Do you care to mute yourself? So I think you guys had some really great ideas that you shared. A couple other things that popped into my mind when you were talking is that local businesses and community organizations can be great resources. So think about them to reach out to as well. And then Allison, who shared earlier, is actually a Vista who's helping the Education Alliance with PR and specifically in social media. So maybe we can ask Allison to help make some standard templates that everyone can use. And then also Allison mentioned the One Warm Coat. So there is a national organization that really works on this nationwide and has some great resources. So we'll make sure that you guys get that so that you can consider that and use any resources that are out there.
Emily, I would add to that Jamie's idea that if you're thinking of one kid that maybe is, you know, one of your mentees, I would consider all the kids in that family too, if you're going to think that way. I like that idea. I like that thought.
It's a great point. Okay, so moving on to AmeriCorps Week, which will take place in March. So for your spring service project, you can either do it for AmeriCorps Week or National Volunteer Week. Most people, I think, usually do it in AmeriCorps Week because National Volunteer Week is when some of you guys are ending your service. So for this project, you're going to get to pick whatever you want to do, and you can do the project either by yourself or in a group. We have some great COVID tips when you're thinking about your project. So one is that, you know, either a virtual project or something that can use a drive-through method is a great way to have a safe project. You may consider to have an outdoor project. So there might be a way to, you know, safely social distance and do it outside. So maybe you're collecting your donations outside. If you do an indoor project, you want it to be in a large space and you want to be able to have plenty of room between people. And if you're doing it indoors, also think about shifts. So you'll want to have smaller groups of people together at one time. And also if you need volunteers for your project, you probably want to ask them to pre-register so that you don't have too many people coming and then you don't have a space that safely they can social distance. Some other things to think about is you might want to ask your volunteers to take a safety pledge or focus your messaging so that there's some safe mental health components to it. And you can also ask people to clean their donations before giving it. So like if you, for instance, with our other project, if you got donations of coats that were used, to ask them to clean them. And also there's some research that says that you should set those donations aside for 48 hours. Just so that, you know, it has that time to air out and, you know, anything that may be on them is, you know, taken care of. So for both projects, you're going to want to be able to evaluate your results. So some things to consider are taking pictures or videos and news articles. Is there an opportunity to reach out to the local newspaper or TV station to feature this project? So you're going to want to collect all of those things. You're also going to have to turn in a list of team members participating in your project, the number of volunteers, how many hours they served, and the value of the goods that they provided. And when you think about really that number of volunteer hours, so if say you have a drive and people are donating things, the time they went to shop, the time it took them to donate that is all time that they spent on your project. So maybe, you know, if you're getting canned goods, you could give them a half an hour or an hour, whatever you think is appropriate for the time on that project. So we're going to break out into groups again to talk about what you want to do in the spring. But before doing that, I wanted to tell you about a couple resources that are in the packet that you opened from Andrew earlier. I'm going to ask him to send you the link again in case you closed it. But in that packet below the discussion questions, there's two resources. The first one is a list of 101 service projects. And I think it's a great place to just think about what's the right project for us and think outside the box. There's some really creative ones on that list. And then the other thing is that there's a list of contact information for all three groups of AmeriCorps, of Education Alliance AmeriCorps members, so you can contact the people in your project. The one thing we do ask is that we need to verify everyone's information. So please look at your information and email me today if anything on that list is incorrect. So we'll go ahead and put you in your groups. You're again going to be in your group by the regional people in your region, and then you can discuss your questions. You'll have 10 minutes, and then you'll come back and share. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed your discussion, and we'll give you a chance to share. Would Berkeley and Jefferson go first and tell us what your spring project is going to look like?
All right, this is Karen. We are kind of up in the air right now because we don't know what spring's going to be like. So a couple of us had some individual things. One was maybe making the dog biscuits and give them back, or stuffing bears and giving back to like foster families and stuff. And I think once we kind of discussed some things, we were looking at maybe like an overall community project if we're not back in school, where we could let the kids know, hey, take a picture of you cleaning up the garden at your house or planting something. I know up here there's a place on Facebook people are doing, West Virginia litter busters or something, and families are just going out and picking up trash and then taking a picture of it. They cleaned up this area. So we were thinking like an overall project thing, or even the rocks, painting the rocks and placing them out. That's still a big thing around here. And then the other one we talked about was maybe doing pen pals with soldiers, or at least writing notes to them, because the kids have so many access of taking pictures and uploading it or whatever. Then maybe we could somehow print them off, or I don't know, figure something out like that. But I think our overall thing was looking at a community thing and putting a collage together of pictures, still including our kids in this.
Those are some great ideas. I just wanted to point out that you mentioned the letters to soldiers, and there is a national organization that does that. So if that's what you choose, let me know and we can send you the information, because I think it's a great resource to be able to then get the information to the soldiers.
Yeah, could you send that out anyways, just in case, because someone might want to do it individually. Or
yep.
And then the other thing I forgot was like birdhouses. So it could even be something like that if somebody wanted to do that, or even the kids, give them an idea and they build a birdhouse or paint it, they could submit that to us as an involvement project.
Great. Okay, Kanawha, Lewis, and Raleigh.
So for Kanawha County, I was thinking a tie-dye mask and maybe hand them out with a snack pack. So like if you're tie-dyeing a mask, it's already fun. And if you're tie-dyeing a mask, kids get to keep the mask, which will more likely make them want to wear their masks. So it's both fun and effective.
That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing. Lincoln, Wayne, and Cabell.
I think the lady from Wayne is not in here, so because it was just me and Levi. But there was one thing that we did see that might be pretty useful. A little bit ago, we did do a school wanted us to do stuff with helping people with the laptops that first got sent out, because there was a lot of people that were having issues. So we did kind of like a day like that where some people that were having issues did come in. We showed them like the right way to do it. And where iPads are coming out, a lot of people, they aren't very familiar with the iPads. So we figured if maybe around that time, if things were starting to clear up a little bit, that maybe schools and stuff would let us have a training for iPads to show people how they work and like the ways that you could save work. Because a lot of people are struggling with the education part of like what's going on right now. And we felt that that would probably be one of the better things to probably work on to help make sure everyone gets their education.
That's a great idea.
And we have a few places that we think that may help us partner with it. We know that schools may not, due to, they want to keep the schools clean, safe for people. They do have the biggest areas. And if that's the case, I guess we could find some place that would let us do it in an open area, maybe out in the parking lot, since it'll be springtime. Maybe it'll be a little warmer, hopefully, who knows. The real plan for it was just to help with education. We feel like that's something that we really need to do, because I've where I take phone calls every day and I hear all these people like saying that they're struggling and stuff like that, and I hate to hear it. Want to make sure everybody gets their education. So we're probably just going to do the same thing about promoting it, social media, flyers. I forgot about this. I have so many connections here because everybody knows me, because it's pretty much my dad and where I played sports, and I'm pretty involved here. I know the mayor. Maybe the mayor might help us out with the town meeting, including it there. And I know a couple people at Armstrong that may be generous enough to advertise it on one of their channels somehow. Maybe we can find a way to do that. That's what I was thinking. And for promoting AmeriCorps, it would be for the schools technically, but we would still say that we're a community project through AmeriCorps. We would have the official dress on, make sure the A and everything was visible, tell them like that's what we're working for, stuff like that. And I feel like it would be a pretty good project if it's able to go through, because a lot of people have been asking about trainings for it. We just can't host them at the moment where things are getting orange and yellow and whatnot. So.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing, Caleb. Logan County?
I'll talk again.
Okay.
We had talked about in the first breakout room about the animal shelters, being able to do something with them, give out donations, maybe have like adopt a puppy day where we can be there to, if they adopt a dog, they'll get like a go home bag, maybe help clean the shelter up, just make a day with animals. And then the other lady, I don't know what her name was. I'm sorry. She's from Chapmanville. She talked about something, maybe having like a mental health day, contacting them, and getting hold of some nurses. Maybe they can get involved with that. I'm really not sure where she was running with it, but it did sound good though.
Awesome. Those are some great ideas. So a really creative thing with animal shelters that we had a member do in the past is, and it's a cool way to get kids involved, is she had her children go and read books to the animals. And like, it was a way for the kids to improve their reading, but also for them to be sitting there and petting the animals and things like that. So I thought that was a creative animal involvement idea. Okay, so next is Ohio and Marion.
Hi, it's Allison again. So we all kind of had a consensus that we wanted to prioritize frontline workers. We think it's a really unique time to do that, and that they really need to be reached out to. So at the very least, we talked about putting together like a self-care package. And we want to reach out and maybe just get people online to like electronically write notes to them, and then we could handwrite it and give it to them. But then we wanted to take it a step further, since we have a little bit more time to develop this, and we figured the self-care package would either be donated by a single pair donations, or we could get businesses involved. So how we would execute that is that we'd have to first of all contact like Ruby Hospital in Morgantown and find out how many frontline workers they have, and then look into like relevant promotional products, like maybe like a coffee mug, and find a business that would be willing to pay for these promotional products if they have their logo on it. And I already have a few ideas in Morgantown, and I think we really wanted to focus in on Morgantown since it's such a huge hub for hospitals and medicine. So I'm just going to kind of work on finding, we're going to work together to make a self-care kit and figure out all the logistics of how many we're going to have to send out, who we can reach out to, and start thinking about ways we can promote it and get people to actually write in and share their thanks with them, because they're obviously going through such a hard time right now with all the hospitals being overbooked and them working long hours where I don't think they have a lot of time to care for themselves. And I think we want to show that they should take the time to care for themselves and that we care for them.
I think that's a really great project. Okay, so our last group is Wood, Pleasance, and Jackson.
We came up with a few ideas. It just depends on if the students are back in school really by that time. But we came up with doing a canned food drive, maybe just separately with our schools and doing like a drop-off box again. Clean up the streets. That could be an option if kids aren't back in school. Clean up streets around the schools. If kids are back in school, have them make flashcards for younger students and give those to teachers to use in the classroom. But yeah, it really just depends on if things are back to at least a little bit normal in March or April.
Those are some great ideas. Thank you everyone for sharing. A couple other things I wanted to point out is, one is sometimes you will do a project at your site that really could be a service project, and it's okay to count that. An example is Caleb Rusk, who is a Vista. Last year, he was put in charge of making face masks for medical personnel, and he actually made over 2,000 face masks. And, you know, he didn't necessarily count that as his project, but that's a great project. So, you know, if there is something that comes up that fits, you can do that. I also want to encourage you to continue to meet with your regional group and continue this discussion and work together. You know, it's easier to make a big difference if you're working in a team. And you will be required to register your spring project by February 15th. So make sure to be thinking about that, and by February, decide what project you want to do. And then the last thing is, I just again want to remind you to check your contact information. Dale is ordering everyone AmeriCorps gear tomorrow. And if we have the wrong address for you, you won't get your gear. So please check it. Thank you, Sophie and Bobby, for already sending me your corrected addresses, but everybody else, make sure we have the right information for you because we want you to get your gear. So thank you guys for all the wonderful discussion and being very engaged today. I'm excited for your projects, and we will meet internally to get the answers to the questions that came up today, and also some resources that can be used statewide for your MLK Day project, and we'll send that out to you guys soon. So let us know if you need anything before then, and we're excited to see what you guys are able to do. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Hey, Emily,
guys.
before you leave,
Yes.
you want me to email you my new address?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Was that the, are you talking about that pullover, the gray one that had the thing?
No, we're ordering new. That's old. We were giving out all our old stuff and you happened to get something.
Well, I
You
already
got-
got it.
New
So.
stuff.
Oh, good. You got the mailing. Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it literally, I was so surprised. I was like, who is this for? It said Rusk. And I was like, who is this? And I like asked everybody in my house. They're like, it's not ours. So I just ripped it open. It was that. I was like, awesome. One day. All right. I appreciate it. See y'all.
Bye, guys.